What's going on, YouTube family? This is your man Pristine, back with another video. Welcome to the full Pristine review for the Moto Razr 5G 2020. Let's dive right in. Now, just real quick, go over the price and the specs just to kind of recap what we initially discussed in the unboxing video. This phone is $1,400. Okay, it's $1,399.99. Now, you can get this from carriers T-Mobile and AT&T. You can get them on promo, or if you don't want to pay that whopping amount out of pocket all up front, then you can go ahead and put the device on installments. Of course, you can get it from the Motorola website where, you can opt to buy this thing flat out, or you can opt to make payments on it as well. I think they go through a bank or a creditor called Affirm, if I remember correctly. And so you do have some options there if you want to put the phone on payments or pay for it flat out. Best Buy has this phone unlocked as well, which is where I got mine from. And again, full retail is $1,400 unless you can get it on a sale. Matter of fact, right now, Best Buy has this phone $250 off. If you start a line with the carrier, I believe either Sprint, Verizon, or AT&T. But you have to either start a line or have or upgrade a line to take advantage of that $250 off. And so that's still going to run you about $1,100. Even with the $250 off. Yeah, those are the price options. Now, again, we've got a 6.2 inch when it's unfolded, foldable POLED display with we've got 876 by 2142 pixels. We've got 373 ppi pixel density. This is a 70.7% screen to body ratio. And then we also got a second external GOLED display at 2.7 inches at 600 by 800 pixels. And so that's the little display that is on the device here when it is closed. And I'll show that off momentarily. Again, the internal specifications, we've got a Snapdragon 765G. This is a 5G enabled device, octa-core CPU, Adreno 620, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, non-expandable, running Android 10 fresh out the box. And I'm not sure if this is going to get Android 11. I'm hoping so. I don't see why I wouldn't, but I have no updates as to when that's going to be, if it is going to get the Android 11 update. Now, the cameras, we've got a 48 megapixel sensor on the rear, and we've got a 20 megapixel selfie camera right here. And so on the rear of the device here is our 48 megapixel main sensor. But when the device is closed, then you can use that main sensor as your selfie camera, whether you want to take still shot images or record selfie video, which is dope. You know what I mean? So, and I've got some samples of that. So, stay tuned. I'll show that a little later on in the video. Now, the cameras, it's got a lot of the bells and whistles that you typically would find on your typical flagship device. We've got optical image stabilization, PDAF, LED flash. Let's see. Dual LED flash, dual LED dual tone flash, auto HDR panorama. We do have 4K recording at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 30, 60, or 120 frames per second with gyro electronic image stabilization. Now the battery, it's a 2800 milliamp hour battery, and I gotta say the battery life on this device. All right, pardon that interruption, y'all, but I had to get that call. Hashtag bars. All right, so battery life, 2800 milliamp hour battery, and the Snapdragon 765G is a very power efficient chipset. But then again, this is a 5G enabled device, and I'm not sure exactly how much more battery life that drains, if it does. But I feel like battery life on this device is suspect. And I noticed too that this phone runs extremely hot with pretty much everything that you do. If you get a phone call and you're on the phone for a while, whether you're talking on the phone with the phone to your ear, typically I have my Bluetooth in, so I never really put the phone in my ear, but it doesn't matter. Even if you got the phone to your ear or you got your Bluetooth headset device in, this phone runs hot. If I'm sending text messages, the phone runs hot. If I'm web browsing, the phone runs hot. if I'm on YouTube, on my studio, just checking some stuff for my channel, the phone runs hot. If I run the camera app, if I'm taking photos or video, the phone runs hot. And that's a concern of mine. I mean, everything that I've done with this device, the phone runs hot and it gets pretty warm. And just you got to be mindful with certain things after that Note 8, fiasco with the exploding batteries. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen with the Moto Razr here, but I'm just kind of scratching my head as to why every feature and function that you run on this phone, the phone runs hot. There hasn't been that one time since I bought this phone that it's been nice and cool with whatever it was that I was doing. You know what I mean? And so that's just something to be mindful of. And I don't know if that's a defect with mine or if that's just how they are. But I noticed that with mine, every action that I do with this device, it runs hot. Okay. Now, the build quality, obviously, the screen that we've got here, it's plastic. It's like a polymer type of material. But on the front and the back of the device, we've got Corning Gorilla Glass 5, I believe. Is it 5? I've got my little cheat sheet here. Yes, it is Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back. And so, the phone's got some durability, but as I always, recommend, protect your device. Now because of the form factor with this device, I mean, cases are very slim. Now, Amazon, they have cases, but they're not available as of yet. They're going to be available in the next couple of weeks. So that's kind of frustrating because typically whenever I get my hands on new devices, I like to have cases ordered for them and have them delivered immediately. I am a Prime member, so I get that whole 2-day shipping thing. Or some of the stuff you get it delivered the same day or the next day for free. Just depends on what it is. But I haven't been able to score a case for this bad boy yet. I mean, I ordered one. Cost me $60. It's not coming to like the end of this week. So it's like I just gotta be extra careful with this bad boy to make sure that I don't drop it. The phone is kind of slippery. Now when it's closed, I mean, it does feel good in the hand. As you can see, I can easily grip this device, but it's when you're opening it, you know what I mean? It's like there's no groove or anything that you can put your finger in to open it. You just kind of have to grab it by the opening, which is somewhat inconvenient. And there's been a couple of times where in the process of opening this device, it slipped right out of my hand, and I was sitting down, so it fell into my lap. And so, there was no damage or anything, I would, close my legs real quick and it would just fall into my lap and I would get it. But that's just something to be mindful of. You could potentially drop this thing in the process of trying to open it and damage it. And, with it being a Razr, the device is predicated on being extremely thin. I mean, if it wasn't as thin as it was, it couldn't really be called a Razr. You know what I mean? Because one of the main things that made the Razr was just how thin the device was. And, by today's standards, I mean, this is a pretty thin device. I mean, this device is thinner than your typical smartphones nowadays. Of course, at least while it's open, and of course, when it's closed, then it's a little bit thicker. But I mean, compared to a lot of the foldable devices that are out there today, this is definitely the thinnest, whether it be open or closed, foldable device that's on the market. And so, I like the footprint. It feels good in the hand. Like I said, it's just a little slick. And so the case that I'm ordering, it's like a it's like a Kevlar type of material. So that's definitely gonna add some grip. I'm pretty sure D-Brand. I mean, they make skins for everything. So maybe you can go to D-Brand's website and order a skin for this bad boy. Just to get some grip ability. But, those of you that rock with this device, I mean, if you're thinking about getting this device, just be extremely cautious how you handle it because it is kind of slippery. All right. Now, as far as performance, again, Snapdragon 765G, 8 gigs of RAM. We do not have a higher refresh rate. This is 60 hertz. We don't have 90 or 120. That's totally fine with me. You see that things are extremely responsive. I'm able to pop into YouTube real quick. You know, it takes a second to load up. And, you know, as it's loading, you can see just breezing through YouTube. Not a problem at all whatsoever. Let's pop into Spotify real quick. And I'm just, you know, just jumping into applications that have a lot of content that typically take a while to get into. Now, I noticed I was having some issues earlier with getting into Spotify. And I know that one of my T-Mobile reps was telling me the other day that because of the T-Mobile Sprint integration and a lot of the testing that they're doing just to make sure that things are solid, people in certain areas are noticing slowdowns. And so that could be you. I know that I was affected by that earlier today. So typically apps that I would go into that wouldn't take long to get into them, it was taking a lot longer, or it was just doing this. You know what I mean? It was just loading, trying to get into it. But you see, I was into it as far as all my playlist and everything, which is, I guess, is most important. You know, it wasn't stopping me from listening to music. But of course, I just wanted to pop into it to show you guys just how quickly you're able to get into certain applications. We'll pop into SoundCloud, see if we have the same issue with SoundCloud. No, we didn't, you know, so just typical load time. A lot of material here on SoundCloud as well. But you get the point. I mean, so the phone, it definitely performs. And then, of course, you know, different applications that you've got open, you swipe on that bottom bar and it's going to, you know, take you through all the applications that you've got open. Okay. And so, you know, if you're familiar with the gestures, then, you know, navigating this device, same stuff, right? Same thing. Okay. To get to all your recents, you just swipe up and hold. This is going to take you to all of your recents. Pop back into YouTube. You see it's right there. I mean, so everything just seems to sit well within the RAM. No reloading times or anything of that nature. You just go right back into the stuff that you want to go back into. Go back into Google Maps. It's right there. No reloading or anything like that. Let's see. Yeah. And then if you want to close everything out, you just hit clear all and it gets rid of everything. Now, the front display it's pretty cool. And this is why I would choose this over the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip, because I think the Z Flip, that little LED screen on the front, is an insult. You know, you got to have, you know, something on the front of the device when it's closed to allow people the opportunity to interact with their device, but not necessarily have to open it. Because for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but just for me, the constant flipping up and down, it gets a little annoying after a while. And so I like the fact that Motorola has implemented on this screen, which is a 2.7-inch display, and it's small, but you still can get the job done. So if you've got notifications, you can swipe up and you can see all of your notifications just as you would if you had the phone open and you swipe down to open your notification shade, which is nice. And like I said, things are small, but I mean, you still can read and make out all of your notifications, and you swipe down all the way just to bring it back to the time. And of course, you can see all the little notification icons right there that you may have. If we swipe to the right, that's going to open up the camera. Okay. And then you see we got the little bar right there. We just swipe up on that to get rid of the camera. Okay. Now, if we swipe to the left, we got some applications, and you can toggle this in the settings menu. And I believe you can have as many of these applications here as you'd like. And the thing is, you just have to give the applications permission to function on such a small display. But you see here, if I want to go on the Spotify, there we go. So it wouldn't open Spotify the other way, but it'll open it this way. Now we're in Spotify. Right? Like, how dope is that? All right. If we want to go to YouTube, allow. And now we're in YouTube. And like I said, I mean, it's going to ask you if you want to allow the app to run on such a small display. But I mean, essentially, if you don't want to open up your device, you don't have to. You know what I mean? And there is app continuity. I mean, so if you start watching a YouTube video on this small display and you open up the device, then the video is still going to be playing on the larger footprint. You know, like I said, I mean, this device is 6.2 inches with it when it's open. And so, you know, if you play a YouTube video and you open up if you play a video on the small screen and you open it, then the video is still going to be playing on the bigger screen. All right. And then, of course, when you swipe over again, this is where you can put a lot of your contacts. Okay, so we have the dialer right here. You see that? And so, you know, if you want to dial a number, you can do that. If you want to search for a contact, you can do that right there, you know, to search for a contact. But it also allows you to put like a quick dial option. So like you know, it doesn't like give you access to like your contact list. So what you can do is you can program like quick dial, and it'll just stay right here in this little area. So if I want to call my wife, I can just hit her name and boom, it'll call my wife. You know, I just took the phone off the screen just so that her number and name and stuff would be out there. But, you know, that's pretty cool. So they make it convenient for you to make calls or, you know, still have access to your applications and things. You know, if you don't want to answer the phone or if you don't want to open up the device, but just know that things are going to be a bit on the tiny side. But you can, you know, return text messages, check emails, all that stuff on this little display. And I think that that's nice. I mean, you know, the Z Flip, you know, just having that little teeny tiny display that it has, you can't do any of that stuff. And it basically forces you to have to open up the device to interact with anything that you want to do. And I'm just not really a big fan of that, which is why I would always choose the Razr over the Z Flip. Even though the Z Flip has flagship specifications in it, still, man, it doesn't matter. That little insult of an LED screen on the front of the Z Flip is a determining factor to me. The cameras, again, 20 megapixel selfie camera, 48 megapixel main sensor. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video real quick. I'm gonna roll some of the video footage and roll some of the still shot images that I took, and then I'll be right back and we'll close this thing out. What's going on, y'all? This is your man Pristine. So this is the 20 megapixel selfie camera on the Moto Razr 5G. And so we got the 20 megapixel sensor here. On the rear, we've got a 48 megapixel sensor, but that 48 megapixel sensor can also be recorded for, it also could be used for recording selfie video and taking selfies when the phone is closed, because when the phone is closed, then that 48 megapixel sensor is facing you. So I'll get some images of that as well, so you guys can see exactly what that looks like. But yeah, this is the 20 megapixel sensor on the front of the device. While it's open, at least. Let me know what you guys think. All right, y'all. So this is video from the 48 megapixel sensor that is well, when the device is closed, it's on the front and it's facing you. But when the device is flipped up, then it is on the back of the device. Okay, but this is dope because, you know, essentially if you don't want to use the 20 megapixel sensor that you have on the front of the phone when it's open, you can use the 48 megapixel, which is the main camera sensor, to do pretty much everything. You can use it to take selfies, you can use it for video recording like I'm doing right now, and it's gonna give you a little bit of a better picture, or maybe a lot better picture, than what you would on the 20 megapixel sensor on the front of it. Not saying that the 20 megapixel sensor is bad, but it just seems like you're gonna get a little bit more better detail and sharpness and color accuracy when you're recording from this camera here. And so, you know, the viewfinder, it's a little small because, you know, I'm looking at this on the front of the device, which is a 2.7 inch display. But nonetheless, I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, so when you play it back, it's gonna look good. It's gonna look solid. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments. All right, y'all, this is the 48 megapixel sensor on the Moto Razr 5G, and this is the lab, man. This is where it all happens. You know, I got my tripod, my camera, my computer there. You see, this is where the magic happens, you know? And then, you know, my little talking points and things, I got them put on the wall up there. Just my little formulas for the videos. Got my desk over here. You know, this is where you know, my iPad Pro and, you know, my drawer full of phones and, you know, different headphones and things that I've got. You know, here's my tarantula, Xena. She's just chilling. I think she just ate. It's a little dirty in the cage. I mean, so you can't exactly see her through the, well, here. I'll let you guys peek at her real quick. Hope you guys ain't grossed out. All right, you see her? So she's a Costa Rican zebra tarantula, you know? She doesn't like when I blow on her. I like to mess with her a little bit. But yeah, man, so that's Xena. And, you know, this camera, it is optically image stabilized. You know, my two daughters downstairs screaming like they ain't got no doggone sense. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man, this is, the rear camera for the device. Let me know what you guys think. Hey, what is this on the floor? What is this on the carpet down here? All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed, you know, those little samples that I took of the recording options and the still shots and selfies that I took. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the camera performance on the Razr 5G here. This is a major improvement over the original Razr, the Razr redo that was put out maybe 6-7 months ago. And it's interesting to see that Motorola put another rendition of the Razr out so quickly. But I think that I don't think that the response was really all that great from that first initial one that they did not that long ago. And so they wanted to follow it up with this one. And it seems like this one basically made a lot of the corrections that needed to be made from the previous one, which is nice. So, you know, my overall final thoughts with this device, you know, who's this device for? Obviously, this device is for somebody that that really wants to get back in touch with the Razr of old. You know, the phone definitely has a nostalgic feel. You know what I mean? You know, we all know and love the Razr from back in the day. But here's the thing. I understand, you know, wanting this device for the sake of nostalgia. But this phone, in my opinion, is not worth $1,400. This phone is majorly, and I mean majorly, overpriced. In my personal opinion, this is a $600 or $700 device. $1,400 is overkill for this device. $1,400. This device should have flagship specifications, and I'm not knocking the 765G because it is a really, really, really good processor. But this should have the 2020 flagship specifications in it with 5G integration. You know, maybe it can offer a little bit more in the camera department. You know, I understand that they want to, you know, keep the device a certain footprint because it's the Razr, so they got to keep it thin or whatnot. But I mean, I just feel like at a $1,400 price tag, the phone should be offering a little more, man. It should have wireless charging. You know, maybe it have, you know, an IP rating rather than just being, you know, a repellent. You know, it should definitely have the Snapdragon 865 or the 865 Plus chip in it. You know, we should see some higher refresh rates. You know, at least 90. You know what I mean? Just to give us that smoother scrolling abilities. Like I said, I mean, it should have wireless charging. I mean, there's some things to be desired on this bad boy, you know, for a $1,400 price tag. You know what I mean? Because there's devices that we can go and pay $1,400 for. That's not a foldable, but it's got every bell and whistle possible. But then you buy this for $1,400 and there's things that you're having to do without. And I can't recommend this device, man. I mean, you know, it performs well. having to constantly fold it and unfold it is an annoyance. Even though it's got the outside display, I've got bad eyes. I mean, so having to, constantly having to squint to see the material, to see what's on the screen, driving myself to headaches because I'm straining my eyes. Even when you increase the font size, things are still extremely tiny. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so this is just for me. You guys may love this, but I'm just telling you the gripes that I have with it that make it a bit of an issue for me. But definitely that price tag. I mean, that's a pretty hefty price tag for what you're getting. And I think that there should have been a lot more included within this device to charge that kind of price. I mean, nostalgia to me is not worth $1,400 in my personal opinion. Is it a good device? Yes, it is. It's different. It's definitely, going to give you that nostalgic feel. It's definitely not the type of device that you're going to see in everybody's hands. I mean, so if you want something different, this is different, but for $1,400, man, that's a hard pass for me. It's a hard pass for me. You know what I mean? So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the full pristine review of the Moto Razr 5G. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to expose yourself to tons of more videos that I've done like this one, and keep it locked at Pristine Mobile Tech because I've got so much more content to come. Be sure to hit that notifications bell so that when my videos drop and go live, you'll get notified and you can be one of the first to check out that content. And get down in the comments section, which is where I'll be chilling at, eagerly anticipating your questions, comments, feedback of any kind. I love to chit chat with you back and forth about these phones and devices. And let's just keep it nice and respectful in the comment section, y'all, because I don't entertain disrespect or insults or any of that kind of thing. So, if that's how you want to be in the comment section, I'm going to just keep passing you right on by. You know what I'm saying? He keeps on passing me by. You know what I'm saying? Old school, baby. You know what I'm saying? We don't play with that disrespect, man. Yeah. So y'all already know, man. Please stay safe. Get spiritually fit. Keep it pristine in every aspect of your lives, man. Much love to all of y'all, my subscribers. I wouldn't be where I am today if not for y'all. So I pray that you continue to support this channel, support your boy Pristine, and I'm going to keep getting my hands on these latest and greatest devices to feature here on the channel, to make you all, or to help you guys make an informed decision on what your next smartphone purchase may be. That's what I do this for. All right, catch you on the next one. Peace.